Hi everybody, this is Greg from Proficient's Microsoft BI Practice. Welcome to the first in our series of Power BI Basics inside Office 365. This is the first of 4 videos we're going to put out to give you some information and some insight into Power BI. What is it? How do I get it? What can I do with it? What are its capabilities? Thanks for watching. Let's get started. One of the first things people always ask us is, where is Power BI? How do I get to it? How does the licensing work? What are the requirements to use it? What can it do? Before you can do anything inside Power BI, there are some requirements. Power BI is an application that runs inside of Office 365. It's part of SharePoint Online. An Office 365 login and subscription are required first. There's a lot of different licensing options for Office 365 and SharePoint. In a nutshell, the E3 or E4 Office 365 plan or the SharePoint Online Plan 2 will get you access to the Power BI suite of tools. Your login to Power BI is the same as Office 365, and it can be your corporate login if you're using single sign-on. It can also be any valid Microsoft email address such as me at Hotmail, me at Live, me at Outlook.com. Office 365 does use Azure Directory Services, which is similar to on-premise Active Directory, and it can be federated to your on-premise domain. It will synchronize the users from your on-premise domain up into the cloud, and you can use your standard corporate login to log into Office 365. Okay, so we've established that we first need a license to SharePoint or Office 365 to gain access to the Power BI tools. This is what you would see if you were a site admin of the Office 365 site. We have some of our usernames there. What you would see if you were federated to your domain under display name here is all the users of your domain. Now each user will have their own individual licensing. So if you were to click on any given user, it's pretty straightforward. You can see the things that this user is licensed for. If they didn't have the Power BI highlighted here or checked here, you can simply buy more licenses right online. This is pretty nice because not necessarily everybody in your institution is going to require the Power BI tool. So this allows you to give a level of access or use to Office 365 for your day-to-day users who use Word and Excel. It also allows you to enhance functionality for your power users that would be using the Power BI tools. Okay, at this point we've set up some sort of login to Office 365, either a valid Microsoft email address, or we've federated Office 365 with our on-premise Active Directory, and we'll use our corporate login through single sign-on to gain access inside of Office 365. Once inside, there's several different areas that you'll be interested in seeing. Once we're licensed and logged into Office 365, there's 3 functional areas that are associated with the Power BI tools. There's a place called My Power BI. It's a personalized site that you'll be able to do some customization with and store some of your favorites on. There's the Team site, which is just a standard SharePoint site in the sites list. And there's the Admin Power BI. This is an admin area that we'll get into later. If your user account is not set up with admin privileges, then this menu item is not going to appear. Okay, this is the Office 365 home site landing page. It's what you'll see when you first log into Office 365. And over on the right, you can see these are the 3 functional areas and their associated navigation links up on the menu here that will get you to these different functional areas of Microsoft Power BI. Sites is the default SharePoint Online sites list. My Power BI is accessed by clicking on those three little ellipses. And if you did have Power BI admin privileges, you'd see this admin drop down here. If not, it's not going to appear. Okay, out of those three functional areas, we're going to talk about what's arguably the most important, the Power BI site itself. This is where all of your content will live and will be rendered via Power Pivot, Power View, or Excel services. The Power BI site, if you're familiar with what a SharePoint site is, it's really nothing different than your typical SharePoint site. The biggest difference is that the Power BI tools will now be enabled. It's just a new type of content that this site is able to render. So from the Office 365 homepage, what we've done to get to this screen is click on Sites, like we saw a few slides ago, and any site that's in the SharePoint instance is going to appear here. We see the Business Intelligence team site, and down below here I'm showing you that it simply uses the same default permission groups that any other SharePoint site would use. On this screen, I've clicked inside the Business Intelligence team site, and we're seeing several different documents that we've uploaded. These are a variety of Power Pivot, Excel services, and Power Views. It works just like any other document library. You simply upload your content and share it out to the appropriate people. Permissions can be set at the document level. However, that's generally not the recommended way to do it. Normally what you should do is create several different document libraries and administrate at the top level. Over on the left, you'll see I have highlighted the Power BI link. This is going to take us to what's called the gallery view. If you're familiar with SharePoint on-premise, you may know that you can only have one gallery view on SharePoint on-premise. This is a little bit of a limitation of the on-premise version. In the Power BI version, it will actually take any of the document libraries that are inside your Power BI site, and it's going to give you that Power View gallery image for all of them, which is a pretty nice feature. Okay, this is the page we've been waiting to see. This is the Power BI site. What it's doing is it's rendering the content from all of those document libraries that we just saw in a traditional list view. And here with this gallery view, it really brings them to life. It makes it interactive for, say, like a Surface device, or it looks great on your traditional desktop. At the bottom of each item, there's going to be three ellipsis dots. If you were to click on that, you would have an option to mark it as your favorite. When you mark it as a favorite, it's going to show up in your My Power BI site, which we're going to take a look at next. The second area we had mentioned in Power BI was the My Power BI site. The My Power BI site looks and acts a lot like the gallery view that we just saw. However, it's individualized per person. We had mentioned adding a favorite. Well, when you add a favorite, what it's going to do is make that chart appear in your My Power BI site. You can see this green bar chart that we saw in the gallery. I clicked on favorites and it appears here now. Here's another one I've added. It's just a line graph and a little bit of a dashboard on the side. The point of the My Power BI site is that each user can go through different galleries and handpick what they want to appear on their site. That way they don't have to dig through 30, 40, 50 different reports. They can simply add the ones here that they're going to use on a daily basis, and they have what amounts to their own personalized dashboard. At the top of the My Power BI site, you can see we're looking at the favorites view. If you went to the data view, you'll see other things that are associated with My Power BI. On this screen, you're going to see data connections, data sources, Power Queries that you've used or that you've shared to other people. It kind of keeps track of what you use frequently, and it'll appear here in this list. It's just a good way to organize any data source or any query that you use on a regular basis. Okay, last but not least, let's take a look at the Power BI Admin Center. We've looked at the Power BI site, which is a collection of galleries and document libraries that holds our content. We've taken a look at my Power BI site, which is essentially hand-picked items from those galleries that you want to use on a daily basis, organized into a little bit of a personal dashboard. The Power BI Admin Center is not the place that most of your typical users are going to go on a daily basis. This is going to be geared solely towards either your power users or your IT personnel that are in charge of establishing connectivity between Office 365 Power BI to your on-premise data. Inside you'll find things that allow you to configure the environment, help you manage users and groups. This is the place where you'll set up what are called your data gateways, which are connections between Office 365 and your on-premise data feeds. All of that is done from inside the Power BI admin page. Okay, that concludes our first video and introduction to Microsoft BI through Office 365 and SharePoint Online. Hopefully at this point you have a better understanding of how it's licensed, how you can log in and gain access to its different areas, and what some of its features and functionality are. In our next videos, we'll be going a little bit more into technical details and how-to. We'll be looking at how you connect a data gateway to an on-premise data source, how you administrate permissions through SharePoint Online, and how you create and upload content to a Power BI site. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can email me or anyone on the Proficient BI team. Thank you.